A Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. This is your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Just enjoying this Texas Tech basketball game. The 13-2 run they allowed to end the first half, and currently down by 2 on the road against Kansas State, 38-36. How are you?
I am down by 5 now.
Oh, you are ahead on the stream. Oh, they make a 3 here. Great. Yep.
I hate this basketball team right now. It was fun when they beat BYU in Utah, and it was fun feeling like you were going to beat number 3 Iowa State.
You should have.
And then losing the way you did and not the way you're playing in Manhattan. I can't. Oh, good job, Fetty. I can't with this team, man. I can't.
He's got it. Federico's got this, man. He needs the ball a little bit more.
So much like last week, this will be a second half live watch and reaction as we try to also cover other things and notes that we've got. Oh, why would you leave him wide open?
Oh man, they completely lost him. Just completely lost him. There were 2 guys wide open. They could have hit a guy in the corner too. Everyone was in the paint on the wrong side of the court.
I'm confused, Michael.
Yes.
I thought McCaslin had a defensive side to him. Is that not the case? Because our defense freaking sucks.
It's not great. It could be better.
I'm just being selfish, right? Because like when we had a really good defense, like man, if we could just hit some shots. And now we have like one of the statistically best offenses in college basketball. Man, our defense sucks.
Can't have both. apparently.
Can we not like just close that gap a little bit? My goodness. All right, so we'll talk about Iowa State last week or this weekend. We'll talk about Kansas State as it happens, then we'll react to when this game goes final. Tech is down 3, but I believe Kansas State will be shooting free throws when we come back from the commercial. Update on the football coaching staff. I gave y'all bad information last week. Shocker.
I didn't even obviously didn't know enough to correct you or anything. So, but go ahead. We'll clear the air.
Yeah, we'll do
Where
that.
23P was wrong.
Where 23P was wrong. The coaching staff limit of 11 only refers to the number of coaches and assistants that can recruit or that can go on the road and recruit. It looks like there is no limit except for what you determine you want to afford. That's basically what I got. So when I said you had 12 coaches on staff, but you still had a position or two that you needed to cover, you're going to be changing up. No, that's not the case at all. You've actually added 2 coaches since we talked last. So one you announced today, although it was kind of rumored for a couple of days. Assistant quarterback coach. Lindsey Scott Jr. I could not find where I put it. The stupid notes. Follows Leftwich from Texas State and Incarnate Word. He played at Incarnate Word under Leftwich, then was a GA there, followed him to Texas State, was a GA there last season. This follows a 7-year playing career between 2016 and 2022. Yeah. His final season at Incarnate Word, record-setting season, 4,686 passing yards, 60 passing touchdowns to 8 interceptions, added 132 carries on the ground for another 712 yards and 11 more touchdowns. He was responsible for 71 touchdowns.
Yeah, and like 5,500 yards or 5,300.
Redonkulous.
Wow.
Started his career at LSU in 2016. That was a while ago. Redshirted that one season, left after Les Miles was fired, went to East Mississippi Community College. Yep, that one, 2017. Missouri in 2018. Nichols for 19, 20, and 21, and then Incarnate Word in 22. So he is now your assistant quarterbacks coach, which is a breath of fresh air that you've got a OC and quarterbacks coach both have played quarterback at the collegiate level. You haven't had that since Kingsbury.
And he's like 27, maybe.
He's young, yeah. His Wikipedia page actually still lists him as like at least semi active with a couple of professional football teams. So maybe he's
Okay.
still trying to play on the side gig.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
I don't know. And
XFL's in the spring.
we don't have enough quarterbacks. Really, that's why he was hired. We needed more guys to run the QB drills in the spring. Good job, Fetty.
Man, I like that Hawkins Federico connection is sweet.
Especially when he gets 2 points and some free throws. Although he's shooting like boo boo. He makes it. So, sorry,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
He got it.
If you're watching on YouTube or if you clicked on whatever, you'll know that I titled I put the graphic Octagon of Boo Boo because we're playing in Kansas State and Manhattan tonight. Octagon of Doom, what they call it. And that will fit both if you win or if you lose. Just they do not have a great environment. You've somehow let them get back into it as their sub 500 team on a 3-game losing streak. Oh, that would have been embarrassing had they made that. Embarrassing for you, Texas Tech. Don't shoot that. Okay, I take it back. Hawkins just
What?
buries a
Man, from
three from the logo.
the nose of the Wildcat.
Yeah. And then today you also announced a senior defensive analyst in Jack Teachy, which is like, oh wow, what is that? Like, that's not a big deal. Jack Teachy, former defensive coordinator at Wofford. He actually coached Sheil Wood and Rob Green when they were playing at Wofford. So this is on the level of grabbing like a Sean Sutton to be
Yeah.
an advisor type. You got a senior defensive analyst who has defensive coordinator experience in this defensive system and taught your defensive coordinator what he knows.
Right.
From the Tech release, it says Teachy previously spent 20 years in various roles at Wofford, where he's on the coaching staff during the playing careers of both Wood and safeties coach Rob Green. Wood and Teachy would later work on the same Wofford staff from 2011, 2012, with Wood as a safeties coach and Teachy as a defensive line coach. Teachy was promoted to Wofford's defensive coordinator in 2013. He says he coached defensive line for 16 of his 20 seasons there. Was recruiting coordinator from 99 to 12. He recruited and coached 19 eventual all-conference standouts and 7 All-Americans. Responsible for recruiting 2 Southern Conference Offensive Player of the Year guys. He began there in 1994 as a tight ends and tackles coach before moving to the defensive side of the ball as the outside linebackers coach from 95-97. Also served as a strength and conditioning coach. This is what happens at small schools. You coach a lot of different positions, but that also shows his versatility. I'm just going to. And then helped a program that claimed 4 Southern Conference titles and advanced to the NCAA FCS playoffs 5 times. So, welcome to Texas Tech, Jack Teachy.
Yes.
Football. We're going to stick through football. Players arrived this past weekend, Michael. All 17 transfers that you signed are now on campus, which is a big deal. And 9 of your incoming freshmen made it to campus. 2 walk-ons, offensive line Connor Canty and quarterback Holden Phillips. And then 7 signed recruits. Wide receiver Michael Dever from here in Lubbock played at Cooper. Linebacker Brock Galwas, 6'1", 225 out of Flower Mound. Tight end Preston Harrison, 6'5", 210 from Mineral Wells. Quarterback Lloyd Chubb Jones, the third, 6'4", 210 out of Hitchcock. I had to look that up. It's right outside Galveston. I'm not current, or I'm not all that brushed up on my South Texas Gulf geography.
Yeah, that is probably my least well-known area.
Back in the lead and 1. Let's go. Oh.
That Anderson, Anderson has been playing nuts the last 2 or 3 games.
He took it off the glass above the square, man.
Gosh. Just impossible to block unless you're Wembanyama.
Yeah, well, and he's not playing for Gain State tonight.
That's right. He's not walking through that door.
Completes the 3-point play. Yeah, apparently Hitchcock is right there next to Texas City. So it's like it's on the bay side right before you hit the bridge to cross over to Galveston. In case anybody was wanting to know where Hitchcock, Texas is.
Makes sense.
Defensive back Deontay Lindsay, 6'2", out of or 170 out of Ada, Oklahoma. Offensive lineman Patrick McMath, 6'3", 260 from Katy. And then the other local kid, wide receiver Leighton Stone, 6'2", 170 from Friendship. I looked at his oh heck yeah, run out. Um his recruiting graphic that they use on his profile there on the website. Dude looks so much like his dad. It's incredible. So 26 new players on campus. Uh, Huge to get your transfer class here. Um, that's oh, Michael, you're looking down. You miss another Hawkins to Fetty
No, because I'm on a
connection.
delay.
Oh, dang it!
Now I saw it.
Heads up. um, that was beautiful, and they're giving the Wyoming coach a back slap. It must be
So let me
his.
see. Hawkins is he has 8 assists right now.
It's
That
fantastic. And
that should be up to date because we're on stat broadcast, so that should be accurate.
he was doing stuff like that on Saturday too.
Oh,
It was
Saturday. Oh my
incredible.
gosh. I know we'll talk about Saturday at some point, but
Yeah,
man,
we'll get there. We'll get there. Not
gotta
yet.
watch. You gotta watch your fouls. You gotta watch your fouls, Hawkins.
Yeah.
Could have used you a little bit more, but I don't think that's why Tech lost.
All right. Last thing on transfers, guys going out. Wide receiver Brady Boyd committed to Utah State. Wide receiver DJ Crest hasn't committed, at least when I saw him. He holds an offer from Middle Tennessee, taking an official to New Mexico State. So both of those guys, you're like, okay, I get it. We missed this because it happened so close to when he actually announced. Cameron Brown, quarterback, committed to Georgia State. This was December 9th, so 5 weeks ago. Going back to the state of Georgia. Harvey Dyson to Tulane there with Trevon McAlpine. So they get Texas Tech is on a 13-0 run, 2.5 minutes, which is great because what allowed Kansas State to get into this game was an 11-0 run, which I believe happened in like 90 seconds. It was
Yeah, it was
blink of an eye. It
insanely
was like,
quick. Yeah.
but we just hit it back to them. So they get a layup to pull it back within 4. Texas Tech up 4, 51-47, just under 12 to go. They're going to hit a timeout here in a minute. Oh, short bus. The other thing, football related, that we want to talk about were the college football playoff semifinals. Michael, you said you were interested in the matchups, but then we're going to miss them because you were going on your Big Ben trip, which we will also talk about later.
Yes.
Because I may have to steal that idea from you guys. Thursday night, Penn State, Notre Dame. Notre Dame wins 27-24. It sounds like it was a good, entertaining game, and it kind of was if you're not really paying attention, or if you weren't watching it and saw like how this happened. Penn State, Michael. I don't know if you saw this or
I mean, I just saw the score. Just that's it. So in my head, that was what I had was, oh, that looks pretty
it was
close.
so it was
It seemed like it was low scoring to start. Yeah.
definitely low scoring in the first half, and it picked up a little bit in the second half. Penn State I like if Texas Tech were in the position Penn State were in, and what Penn State did, like we would have lost our minds. They attempted, Michael, 0 passes to a wide receiver.
What?
Attempted 0 passes to wide receivers. Not even like they had 0 completions. They attempted 0 passes.
Did they lose a bet? Was this like, did they lose their Final Fantasy? Their fantasy football league? This was their equivalent of spending 24 hours in a Waffle House?
I have no idea.
Oh man, you lost your. Hey James, came in last in the fantasy league this year. That means you know what that means.
Every pass attempt that you make not to a receiver knocks off 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They didn't attempt a bunch of passes. I think it was 20, 21 attempts, but none of them went to a wide receiver.
Oh my
which
gosh,
is
that is strange.
almost unfathomable. Cotton Bowl the score was a little bit wider, but a
That happened
better
late, right?
game. A better
Yeah.
game. Yeah. So it was 21-14, or it was Ohio State got up 21-14. Texas was driving late. Like they were, I think they took the ball over with like 5 or 6 minutes to go. Very methodical, but very efficiently moving the ball downfield, taking up a lot of time, looking like they were going to try to score to push it to overtime. They get first and goal after a couple of pass interference in the end zones. First and goal at the 1, Michael. First and goal from the 1.
That just seems like an ideal scenario.
They run it. They lose 7 yards. It ends up, it's like third and goal. They throw it into the end zone. The ball was tipped, whatever. Fourth and goal. The Ohio State all everything defensive end, former roommate with Quinn Ewers when he was at Ohio State, gets around, strip sacks, picks up the ball, and returns it 90 yards for a touchdown.
So
It
this
was
makes
fan freaking tastic to watch
this
the tears.
this makes so much sense because we were back at our Glamp site by that time, and so the score app had alerted me. Oh yeah, he stepped out. So the score app alerted me that, oh, close game for the Cotton
And it
Bowl, and
was.
I was like, oh, awesome. And I checked the score. By the time I had, because we were busy and everything, and I was like, okay, man, that's
We
right.
don't
That's
have,
tonight. I need to look into this. And by the time I checked the score, it was 28-14. I'm like, close game. What are you talking about?
it was
Nothing close
21-14.
about this. It was
Well,
21-14 apparently with like third and goal.
you probably got the notification when it was tied. And
Yeah, no, I did.
Ohio State,
Or they were driving, or I
yeah.
probably got it while they were driving. It was 21-14 and they got into the red zone. And then I check it later. I'm like, 28. What's going on here? Who thought this was
Oh,
close? So that makes sense.
tie game, 51. So sets up your national title game on Monday night between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Um, honestly, it feels like this is going to be a Ohio State.
The way they are playing, I would be very surprised if
You
it's not.
left him open again.
But I think that this is the first national championship I've been excited about in probably years that I'm actively looking forward to. I think that time Washington made it, I was excited, but not that hopeful. But
Was that last season? Wasn't it like what Washington, Michigan?
yeah, it must have been last season because Penix is a rookie somewhere now. So, but yeah. Anyway, like I said last week, just these teams. I mean, they have more than earned their right to be there, and I'm just excited to watch them play. I felt that way, but coming into the Final Four games, the semifinals, all of that.
Basketball's a game of runs, Michael. Texas Tech
Yeah,
went on a 12-0 run. Kansas State's on a 10-0 run.
yeah. Texas Tech hasn't scored in a little over 2 minutes.
I hate this. See, this is what I'm talking about. I hate this team. I hate watching these games.
You're so hot and cold, Spencer.
I ride the wave. Um, reactionary, reactive. That's what Texas Tech does to me.
Shall we get into basketball?
In just a second, I just one more shot. Second season in a
Across the
row,
bow.
no SEC teams in the title.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Who did Washington play last year?
Michigan.
Oh, yeah. Because then Harbaugh bolted. Okay. I have such a short / bad memory when it comes to stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I just talk basketball.
Oh, did we just throw up a Hail Mary 3 because of shot clock? Yes, we did. Oh, no. Good. Get a rebound.
Oh my gosh, you just oh.
I also like, too, back to your point, the one SEC team left standing was not
Not
an
an
SEC
SEC.
team 12 months ago.
That's okay.
Oh man, D5, he's lucky. Oh, he was pushing. That elbow was going out into that lane. I'm
Let's
glad they didn't call it on him, but it was it could have been.
let's do an update on the Lady Raiders before we get into Red Raiders and
Oof.
watch the rest of this game and do a recap on Iowa State. Um,
It's not a good update.
they are they're in the thick of some struggles, Michael. They're riding the
Yes.
struggle bus. 3-game losing streak. Sorry, at least 3 games. They're 1-5 in Big 12 play. They've lost their last 3 that we have on here on the sheet, and not close in any of them.
No. Tonight they were at least close until the third quarter. They played at Iowa State tonight. Um, Lady Raiders went into halftime. Let's see. I think they were within 2 or 3, but then they got outscored by 10 in the third quarter, and that was that. So, uh, another tough blow for a rough week. Wednesday last week, we were there for this one. West Virginia took them down 89-53. Of course, West Virginia's 13-3,
Oh no.
3-2 in Big 12 play. They were number 17 last week when they played. So not a bad team by any stretch, but I mean Texas Tech just sent them to the line just about every other possession and just got dominated in the paint on some really fast guards. Couldn't stop a layup, couldn't rotate on defense. I forgot how many free throws they made. I think it was, let me see, it was 26 at one point um, that West Virginia made. So yeah, out
It's
of
too
West
many.
Virginia's 89 points. Let's see. Where did I have that? Here we go. 28 of them came from free throws. They were 28 of 31 on the night.
Good gravy.
And they scored 40 points in the paint. So out of their 89 points, 68 came from points in the paint and free throws. And of those 89 points as well, 35 came off turnovers. Just a really bad game all around for the Lady Raiders. And it just seems to be kind of a pattern, unfortunately. The hits keep coming too because immediately after that, which this was a game I did not watch, so I'm not going to comment on it too much, but went to or didn't go, but hosted number 11 TCU, who is, as of this recording, I haven't kept up with the games tonight, but they were 17-1, 5-0 in Big 12 play. Lost by 26 to them, 69-43. And then tonight, as we mentioned, went up to Ames, lost 71-58. And they have yet to win a game this calendar year. Their last win was December 22nd on the Big 12 opener versus Houston. So they're at least 1-5 in Big 12 play, but on an 0-5 skid, as you mentioned. Uh, uh, you know, some chances to right that ship a little bit this week with BYU coming into town. Currently 10-6, 1-4 in Big 12 play. So that's this Saturday at 6. And then Wednesday, they'll get the chance to go to Houston, who is 4-12 overall, 0-5 in Big 12 play. But I do think they were leading Oklahoma State earlier. So maybe they can get back going, get a couple of wins. But it's really going to be tough without Jordan Merritt. It was announced yesterday, I believe, so Monday. She has elected to medically retire from basketball, just altogether. She had a letter that they posted through the official Lady Raider basketball account, and she was on the bench. She goes through. She obviously doesn't say exactly why. I don't know why. I'm not going to speculate, but she was a big piece of this team, and she realizes that. So I'm sure that was really hard for her, and that is why she's staying with the team. She was on the bench. She traveled with them. So she's going to be there and be a part of the team, but unfortunately, she just won't be able to play. So I can't imagine what would lead to that type of decision to not just, it's not like she's sitting out for the draft or anything like that. She is
Right.
retiring from basketball, period. So that is a huge decision that I'm sure uh, was not taken lightly in any sense. So hope she's okay. Hope she can bounce back and do whatever she wants to do in in her career and whatever she has planned for her future. But yeah, if I mean taking basketball out of it at this point, it's probably a really heavy blow. So anyway, Red Raiders are without her, who's a great leader, just can be a real force on defense. Uh, I think I learned this from seeing Scarlett, which you guys should listen to as well. She was never really meant to play down low as much as she has for Texas Tech, but that's kind of just been the role she's been given because of her height. She's more of a forward, not really a forward, like a shooting forward or a small forward, even though she is 6'2" or 3. But she's kind of adapted her skill set. She's got some great post moves, been able to do a lot of work in the lane for the Lady Raiders. But yeah, unfortunately, no longer going to be able to play basketball. So, man, this 12-7 team that's 1-5 in conference has got a lot of work to do to get going. I mean, it was good to see Fritz and Barstow uh, get some time in against their former team. They both played at Iowa State. Uh, Barstow. Gosh, I was just in far west Texas, so I had Barstow in the brain. Bristow. Sorry about that. But yeah, she was with Iowa State last year, of course, and then Fritz was there, I believe, 21 through 23. That is, yeah, something like that. Anywho, not looking great over there, but maybe they can get on a little bit of a kick here, win a couple of games, get some confidence. We'll see.
Definitely have the opportunity. The next couple, I say that their records are bad like yours. If you can hear my two boys, just know like they're okay. Um,
I could hear some commotion in the background, but it's fine. It didn't. It
it's
sounded perfectly fine.
it's bedtime, and the youngest son, our middle child, he doesn't stay in bed. He will be one of the last ones to fall asleep in the house, but he just doesn't stay in his room. Um, we he says he's scared of the dark, so we can't like close and lock the door. Um, and it wouldn't otherwise it wouldn't really be that big of a problem. Except he's like their room is right outside of this room, and he's yelling. So
Oh
just
man,
know like it's okay.
here's a quick aside. Speaking of closing the door, uh, my wife picked the absolute worst possible time to share this tidbit of information with our daughter the other night. Hey, did you know that it's because uh, she doesn't like having the door closed either, and she likes having some lights on. But my wife thought this is the perfect time, right at bedtime, to say, "Did you know that if you close the door, it's actually safer if there's a fire?"
I was thinking it, but
And then, I mean, my eyes about rolled out of my head. Like, why did you say this right now? And then, of course, our daughter, who's justifiably kind of thrown off by this and is a little emotional, like, what do you mean a fire? Is there going to be a fire? And then we're putting this fire out for the next 10 minutes. No, there's not going to be a fire. It's just if there. And the whole time I was like, why say this? Why say this right before bedtime? Because that freaked me out as a kid too, thinking about house catching fire or something. I didn't blame her at all. Anyway, okay. Where to now?
men's
Texas Tech is up by 2.
4:40 to go, 59, 57. They just showed the graphic for those watching along with the game. Jerome Tang is like 1-4 in games decided 4 points or less. Texas Tech is 0-3 this season in games decided by 4 points or less. They're 4-4 overall under McCaslin, which means he was 4-1 last season. Like, oh man, close games, we got this. Not this year. So, as of right now, Texas Tech is 11-4, 2-2 in Big 12 play. Lost on Saturday. We'll just rip the Band-Aid off. 85-84 to then third ranked Iowa State at home in overtime. They've since moved up to number 2. They are second. Kansas is 9, Houston 10, Baylor 25. West Virginia dropped out of the rankings. West Virginia, Arizona, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati are receiving votes from the Big 12. But let's go through. Michael, you didn't watch the game live. Did you know what had
Correct.
happened but when you watched it?
No, no. I went in pretty. I mean, I knew the score,
Okay,
and
so
so Monday night, I queued it up and watched it, and I think I was kind of looking at stats. I had stat broadcast pulled up as I was watching, so I knew some things, but no, really, I went in relatively cold Monday night. Just turned on the recording, and naturally, I missed the first 5 minutes because the game before went into overtime. Thanks a lot, ESPN. Um, but that was, I thought I would just watch this game, take some notes, and I did that last night. But I got a little fired up and I got a little frustrated, and it was
Mhm.
very I kept forgetting that this wasn't live, and I'm not usually like that because I've watched football games on a delay. I've watched other basketball games on a delay, but there was something about this one that just caught me off guard. We mentioned earlier Hawkins having to have his playtime limited with those 4 fouls early. Being taken out of the game just like 2 minutes into the second half. He had, I think, 9 assists at that point. Dude was just playing lights out, but you just got to be a little bit careful if they're going to call you on all those handsy fouls. I mean, we can nitpick whether they're fouls or not. If they're calling it, you got to adjust. But man, it's just
How do you
everything.
adjust to that officiating? It
Oh,
was
well, I would say this. The big things that stuck out in my head was Iowa State was 0% from three in the first half. Then they were 50% from three in the second. Tech absolutely got blasted in the paint, 50-32. But Tech did so many things right. I felt like if you just look at that stat sheet, you had players, you had 2 or 3 players with 18 points. You're shooting 79% from free throw. We'll get to free throws in a minute, but only had 15 turnovers. That's pretty decent. You were
and they were
+6 on
it,
rebounds.
it felt like a lot of those 15 turnovers came early in the first half. Like you
Yeah,
got like you had like 6 or 7 within like the first few minutes, and you're like, wow. And then like you stretched out the other 8 over like the back 35 minutes of the game. Well, yeah, in overtime. Yeah, you
well,
shot
not
42% from the field, 45 from 3,
yeah,
almost 80% from the free throw line, 15 turnovers. You said +6 in rebounds.
and I think Iowa State had 15 turnovers. So it was. I'm not saying it's a wash because it's not. The points off those matter, which I didn't record. But geez, just that it boils down to like the final minute or 2 minutes of the second half.
I would actually back it up
Just brutal.
4 minutes. The last 4
Okay.
minutes of of,
Okay.
of regulation. Um
Yeah, these notes I made were just as I'm watching it happen, Spencer. It was just like a true.
so I added a
I'm
couple
just
notes.
regurgitating, like reacting, like, oh my gosh, this happened and this.
I added my couple thoughts into your final minutes notes. Um I don't combination of you're playing a good team and like good teams can sometimes figure it out how to win. You were also outcoached
Yeah.
but you weren't performing as you should have been to ice that game to close it out.
No,
Michael,
everything was going your way at one point. Sorry.
your last field goal in this game came with 4 minutes to go.
Ah, man, I didn't realize that.
You had, I can't remember, I counted it up, 5 straight possessions to end the game with 0 points. And then you hit 3 or 4 free throws to end it, but that only got you to the point where you were up 2, but then they hit the go ahead free throw. But 5 straight possession, you score points on any of those possessions, the game's over. 5 straight possessions, 0 points. You went from 406 until 20 seconds. You had a 3.5 minute scoring drought. You last 4 minutes of the game, you don't score for 330 of it. It's pretty damning right there. You forced Iowa State to go through and burn all their timeouts. They had in the last minute or so, like when it really came down to it, they couldn't stop the clock unless you did. You had easy, close looks, bunnies, as we like to call them, that were missed.
You had 2 of your 90% free throw shooters go 50% at the line. I mean, I don't feel like naming them because it's whatever. Basketball happens, but that's just, there were so many opportunities to win this game. And I think some of the most damning is taking those timeouts, especially the second one. The second one I was livid when he took the second timeout with 5.7 seconds left. And that was before I put 2 and 2 together, that him taking that timeout not only gave, Iowa State a chance to set up some sort of play or something to try to get down the court and get a shot up, but it gave the stinking refs time to bend time and add that half second. If that half second had not been added, Jefferson would clearly have been holding on to the ball before he got that shot off. I stopped it. Like I rewound it and I was like, okay, where do we get to 0.5? Because they replayed it in slow-mo, so I could actually stop it in time because I'm old and I'm not that fast. So, oh man, that made me livid. We just gave him the game. Gave him the game, both of those timeouts. Iowa State didn't have a timeout for the last 3 minutes? I thought, how does this go wrong?
So
we stop the clock. We give them the chance. They score. They score after both of those timeouts. Why? Why call those? Why not just after that free throw, Tech's up by 2. They've got let them run it down with 5.7 seconds and pull something out of their butt and see what happens. No. Let's call a timeout and regroup and then not stop them again. It didn't work the last time, Gas. They just allowed a freaking layup last time. Well, we'll stop it this time. Nope. Let's go to overtime and lose.
I don't want to like, the same crap is happening right now. I don't know how many possessions you've now gone with 0 points. You've got Kansas State here, who has scored 2 points in the last 6 minutes of this game. But you've had several possessions where you come up here and you're falling, you're chucking the ball into the stands.
Neither team has scored in almost 5 minutes. Kansas State's on a 4-minute 40-second drought, and Tech's on a 4-minute 18.
Oh my gosh, we got that. And then what do you? Oh my gosh.
Who was that to? Oh no. Oh, Hawkins.
It was to the Kansas State fans in the front row.
Oh.
We took the ball from them under the basket with a minute to go. Get up the court. Hawkins again falls and just chucks it to nobody.
I mean, he
That's
could have just slow up, just slow up. I thought he was gonna slow up. I was like, why are you? I didn't understand your reaction until I saw it.
I'm sorry.
So yeah,
I'm
so
like
Kansas State
5 seconds ahead of you.
has a 5 minute 4 second scoring drought, and Tech has 4:42. The
Now
score's been the same for over 5 minutes.
just under a minute left. Oh, thank you. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay. Hawkins just attempted a 3-pointer from the neck of the Wildcat logo.
Oh my gosh.
Short bust.
Other
Rebound.
Hawkins. Other Hawkins.
Yeah, the Kansas State Hawkins.
Yeah,
Ball
we
goes
got
out
to
of
make
bounds.
that clear.
Tech ball, 46 seconds, up 59-57. Still no point scored. Just score any points here and you win the game. 2 timeouts left. We take one. 40 seconds to go. All right. Iowa State.
But we have the ball. We took a timeout with the ball. That's great. We should do that more often.
Yes. So they go back, Iowa State, they go back and add half a second. On the review, that was the right call. Our clock operator was a little.
It happened a couple times.
Oh yeah, and it happened. Yeah, because
Happened in overtime.
They added a second, like almost a full second overtime.
Yeah.
So in the final 4 minutes of regulation, you scored 4 points. None of those were field goals. They were 4 free throws on 3 different trips. You went 1 of 2 twice.
Mm-hmm.
Overtime whistles for Iowa State are just gone. They're throwing elbows, punching dudes, kicking guys in the nuts.
Oh, they're fighting like hell down low for rebounds, and Tech's getting called for. Yeah. It was
breathing in the wrong direction.
It was rough.
Not chewing the right brand of gum. Free throws continue to be an issue. Then, you miss a key rebound, and then they get a putback, which then puts you down a point, which was just devastating. There's you go up 84-83 with 15 seconds to go. You're feeling pretty good, but still so much time left. Lots of contact. Oh my God. Can we not hit a shot?
I think I'm almost over the.
Let's go.
I'm almost over the. Well, okay. I better wait.
Finally hit
Never mind.
a field goal.
I was about to say I'm almost over the late game. Let's just give it to D5 and see what happens.
That's it. Yes. Ball game.
And then he made a shot.
Oh, golly, that could have been ugly. No,
Tech
sorry,
wins
it was
by
ugly.
4. It was ugly.
So 2 points scored over the last 6 minutes between two teams playing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, let me dig that up. So period 2, the last bucket was with 5:28 left.
And then D5 hits it falling away with 17 seconds to go.
Yeah. K-State's last bucket was with 5:50 left.
Texas Tech wins on the road. Undefeated on the road, Michael. 3-0. You're also winless at home.
Defeated at home. They're the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, they're looking for a new head coach. Okay, so the second time officials go back and add time, they add 0.9 seconds. We end up fouling some dude. Makes both of his free throws, of course, to get the 1 point lead. But that extra time does give D5 a better shot to run the entire length of the court. Why it was only on him and like there was nobody else available, I don't know. The shot itself wasn't terrible.
No, it was a good look.
I don't love the coast to coast sprint at, 8 seconds left in the game. But
Yeah.
um,
The running jumper, the running jumping floater. Yeah, that's a tough shot to make, but it was a decent look.
so you dropped that one, 85-84 in overtime. Some guy, I don't even know who it was. They posted the screenshot of the in-game win percentage of the Texas Tech Iowa State football game and the Texas Tech Iowa State basketball game, and they are almost identical but inverted. Iowa State had
Wow.
it was always Iowa State favor until the very end of the third quarter in football, and then a little bit of Texas Tech, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and like the swings got bigger and bigger as the game got towards the end for football until you just win it. For basketball, Texas Tech again until about the same part in the game, about 10 minutes left in the go, 10 minutes left in the second half, about the third quarter, Iowa State gets a little bit of a tick, Texas Tech swings back. Iowa State gets a tick, Texas Tech swings back. Iowa State gets a bigger swing, smaller rebound from Texas Tech, and then shoots off for Iowa State for the win. I want to hat tip something that Money Mainville said, and this is not counting tonight, but conference only play. Texas Tech's offensive efficiency ranks first in the Big 12, but defensive efficiency is 14th. Through 4 Big 12 games, you are allowing teams 58% from 2, 31.5% from 3, 6.5% block percentage, which is 15th in the conference, 8.5 steals, a steal percentage, which is 15th in the Big 12. The 58% from 2 is 15th. The 3-point shooting is 9th. Be curious to see what those update to after tonight. So you win tonight. You move to 12-4, 3-2 in Big 12 play. You have Arizona this weekend. They are 10-5, but 4-0 in Big 12 play. They are playing tonight, late game. I think they just tipped off at home versus Baylor. And the next Tuesday, we'll do more of an instant reaction because the game should be final before we hit record. Tuesday night at Cincinnati. They are also 10-5, but they are 0-4 in Big 12 play as of tonight. Other games tonight, Oklahoma State at BYU. They also tipped off at 8. They still have some time left. BYU is up, at least when Michael put the notes in, by 13, 78-65. Then you got 2 10 p.m. games, UCF at Arizona State, Baylor at Arizona. And then 4 games tomorrow, Kansas at Iowa State, which could be just fantastic. Could be a rock fight. I don't know. I'm probably going to try to watch that one. Utah at TCU, West Virginia at Houston, Cincinnati at Colorado. Cincinnati, Colorado, don't even bother. Bad. If you're going to watch one game, watch Kansas at Iowa State.
That's got to be tough for Cincinnati fans rolling into Big 12 play ranked and then going 0-4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them will have to win tomorrow. So,
yeah.
Again, before tonight, Haslametrics had you dropped you a spot from 17 to 18, dropped you 3 spots, from Ken Palm, 14 to 17, 1 spot in BPI, 18 to 19, T rank to 17, net rank at 19. You now have 4 quad 1 games. You're 2-2. Again, this is before tonight. You're 0-1 in quad 2, 4-1 in quad 3, 5-0 in quad 4. Haslametrics, going back to that, tonight was an 18 versus 99. So you getting out of there with a 2-point win. Not good, Bob. The Haslametric projection was a 10-point victory for Texas Tech tonight, 79-69. Saturday versus the 16th Haslametric ranked team, Arizona, a very narrow 78.9 to 76.7 projection in your favor. They are scoring a couple points less than you and giving up a few more points than you do. So their scoring spread is a little bit closer than yours is. They are shooting almost or 48.5% from the field and allowing teams to shoot 39.3. Not as good at from three as you are, 31.9%, allowing teams to shoot 31.5. They are aggressive. They shoot 23 free throws a game and are connecting on 75% of them. They are cleaning up the glass, 41.4 rebounds per game, allowing teams 30 to 32. So they are plus 9.5 rebounds per game. Texas Tech is plus 7. Um, and then they turn the ball over just a little bit more than you do, 12 per game, forcing 13.5. You're back at home. I don't know if that's going to matter because you haven't won at home yet. Lost to UCF and Iowa State now.
Well, hang on. I think we're striping out the USA, so I think that'll fix it.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
It'll look good on the picture, on the couple of shots you get from the floor, but students will be fully back by then, though. Yeah, classes start this week, today, tomorrow, sometime very soon. They were not fully back for Iowa State, but should be back for Arizona. And then next Tuesday is a 6 p.m. tip, but you are 34, going up against the 34th ranked Haslametric team in Cincinnati. A very narrow margin here, 66.95 to 65.35 in favor of Texas Tech. They are not as good offensively. They are scoring 73 points per game to your 86. They were allowing teams to score 60.5 to your 65. They shoot 46% from the field, 33% from three, only get to the line 14.5 times per game, and are hitting only 63% of their free throws. They have a +6 rebound margin, and they are -5 in turnover margin. Not careful with the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to. It'll be a road game, right? In
Yes.
Cincinnati. So, I mean, you never want to discount that. Haslam, obviously, as you mentioned, has this really close. But the thing that I think worries me the most is just defensively what they may be able to do. Uh, I wanted to see where Cincinnati was ranked defensively. So, as you mentioned, they're 34 overall on Haslametrics, but if they're only allowing 60 points per game, whereas Tech's allowing 65, most of the teams we've played have been 65, 70, something like that.
So Ken Palm has the Cincinnati defense as 7th.
Yeah. So I'm a little concerned, and that's also in their house. So I don't want to discount that game, even though they have yet to win a Big 12 game. They could be rolling off of a big Colorado win. So you just never know.
Just caught that. And then the new commit we talked about last week, Mario Akuntak, is now on campus. Will be redshirting this season, getting ready to play next year, but he is with the team now. So, anything else on basketball, Michael?
I don't think so.
Wrap up the Kansas State game better?
Yeah, we can. We can go through some stats a little bit if you'd like. I've got McMillan, not his best night, but of course he didn't really shoot that much. Only 3 points, 1 of 4 on shooting, 0 of 2 from three. So he started, but just wasn't able to really get out there too much.
Yeah, you only had 2 guys in double figures. Elijah Hawkins with 14 and D5 with 16.
Yep. And let's see, I misspoke. McMillan was out there a lot. He was out there for 33 minutes, but he just didn't contribute as much offensively, at least not on the stat sheet. Hawkins with 9 assists, didn't quite get that double double again, but very close to it. Uh, some good rebounding there by Anderson, coming off the bench, getting 6 boards, and of course Federico with 7, who had a good shooting night tonight. He didn't, that was a weird stat too in the Iowa State game. I kept seeing that. How is he 0 for 0 on field goals? But in the second half or whatever I had clicked at the time, and it was because he kept getting fouled every every time. I thought, how is this man not shooting? Why are we not getting him the ball? And oh, okay, he is getting the ball. And then I wasn't looking at the free throw line, and then he missed a few of those, but was perfect tonight.
1 of 1, yes sir.
That's right.
You attempted 7 free throws tonight.
Seems low.
4 of 7, 57% from the free throw line tonight, 38% from the 3-point, and 50% from the field, which you love to see that number stay high. Let's see. You attempt 13 threes. Hawkins hit 2. D5 hit 1. Overton hit 1. Anderson hit 1.
Tech owned the paint. Kind of opposite of what happened against Iowa State. They scored 40 in the paint. Kansas State only had 18, and led the game for 26 minutes. Just allowed those 2 big runs by Kansas State, and that was really. And then just had such an awful last 5 minutes of offensive basketball. Those are the 3 big things I can think of right now that made this game even close.
Kansas State went with 0 points last 550 of the game. They were 0 of 8 in field goals over that stretch. They were 1 of their last 12 shots, 4 turnovers over the last 8 minutes of the game. And like I said, nearly a 6-minute drought. They are probably as frustrated as we were against Iowa State. Like you score any points there, the game's over. And
you say all that, and Tech only won by 4.
Texas Tech also had a ridiculous scoring drought. Let's see. Run tracker. No, that's not going to help.
Mark Wahlberg being bald in this movie is really throwing me off. Have you seen these previews for Flight?
I've not paid attention to it, no.
It's just really, because he's wearing a ball cap to start out, and then he's got the full power donut, like the Terry Bradshaw thing going on, and it just really throws me off.
All right, so if you go into stat broadcast and you go to the scoring possessions and then show field goal misses and turnovers, you scroll down, there is a big blank section where they'll highlight of the line where there's a score.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it.
K-State, 5:50 left. They scored 2 points on a Hawkins jumper. Texas Tech responds 5:28 with a Elijah Hawkins layup. And then from there until D5 hits the layup with 17 seconds, a good 5 minutes, 11 seconds, nobody scored. For Kansas State, Hawkins missed a 3, McDaniel missed a 3, Castillo missed a 3, Hawkins had a turnover, Hausen missed a 3, Castillo had a turnover, Castillo missed a layup, Hawkins missed a 3. For Texas Tech, in that same lineup, or that same span, Federico missed a layup, Elijah Hawkins turnover, JT Toppin misses a free throw, McMillan misses a 3, turnover, McMillan turnover, Anderson misses a layup, Elijah Hawkins turnover, D5 misses a jumper, D5 hits a layup. And then Kansas State ends it with a 3-point a 3-point miss and a layup miss. In the first half, I think you were up 8. Was that your biggest lead? Yeah, you had an 8-point lead twice. And then Kansas State got up to a 6-point lead with 15:20 to go. They were up 44-38. You brought it back down. You got up to a 7-point lead with 10:55 to go. And then between 10:55 and 9:12, so whatever that math is, 90 seconds, K-State goes on um, their run there. One of their runs, excuse me. If we can just limit some of those runs, Michael.
Please, by all means.
Put together your own run and then continue the other one. All right, I've got a couple questions for you, and then let's wrap it up with what do we learn.
All right.
I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna. So one, we talked about it. You went to Big Bend last week. How was it?
Fantastic. Have you ever been?
Never been to Big Bend. Now I think I want to do this similar type of thing for my birthday, but it's in June.
Ooh, don't go in June. You might die.
Well,
that is the off season.
it would be warmer, yes, and much more busy. But
I don't know if it's busier. Big Bend is like the off season is May to October. Like some of their visitor centers and stuff. You might check that out, but if you because some of their visitor centers and other places close during that stretch because it gets so hot.
may have to take an
So-
early trip then.
Yeah, it,
All
it
right,
might
so-
be. It might be an early one. But man, it was great. If you've never been, go. Just that whole drive down there. I'd spent a little bit of time working south of Fort Stockton a few years ago when we were doing a project down there. But that's really my only experience that far south and that far west.
We've been to Fort Davis. We
Okay.
went there.
Yeah.
It was around Valentine's before Grayson was born. So that would have been 11 years ago. 10 years ago? He's 10 now. So yeah, 11 years ago, because he will be 11 this year. We were living and working in Hobbs, so it was a little bit of a shorter drive. We just went basically straight south. We stayed in Fort Davis for that weekend or whatever it was. It was nice. Haven't been anywhere like intentionally like that far west or south
Yeah.
in Texas.
We hadn't. And my wife definitely hadn't, and so it was a new experience for us. So had never been to Alpine, and you start going south of Alpine, and that scenery and that landscape just starts changing drastically. And by the time you get to Terlingua, you feel like you're just in a different part of the planet. Driving into Big Bend feels that way too. It almost feels like a different planet. And I saw a poster in the visitor center of they had several of the Apollo crews come out there and I guess collect geological samples and just kind of take a look around. The poster wasn't specific as to why they were there. They just documented that they all came. So, several of them from like Apollo 11 through 16 or whatever it was. Several of those crews made it out there. But if you haven't been, you've got to go. It's really cool. First day we went to the Santa Elena Canyon, and that's where you hike along the edge of the Rio Grande, and then it ends right at the water, and you're just surrounded by these 1,500-foot vertical cliffs on each side of you. It's just unreal. The terrain, how things change there is nuts. So you do that hike and there's all this vegetation and everything, but as you're walking and driving to it, all you see is cactus, yucca, uh, you know, creosote bushes, all of these desert plants. And then the next day we went to the Chisos Mountains, which is in the very center of the park, pretty much, kind of the south central area. And the elevation of it is a lot higher. And the hike we went on was called the Lost Mine Trail, which was excellent. And it was a workout. I mean, it was 1,500 feet up.
That's
and
intense. Yes.
straight up, not straight up. I mean, it was 1,500 feet the whole way, up. The whole way to the tip to the top of it. You were going vertical, climbing, and then. But what was so cool about that is because of that region of the mountains and how blocked off they are, and the elevation, and all these other factors. You'd have evergreen trees right next to cactus, right next to an agave plant, or or something like that. And there'd be frost. There was like frost up there too. So it's just a really cool, unique place. And yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough. We both really enjoyed the park, and we did one of those glamping dome things west of Terlingua. That's where we stayed, and that was pretty cool and everything too. We enjoyed that too, but the park is what's going to get us to go back. That was, and just the remoteness of it is, you just can't until you've experienced it. It's so remote. Everything in that area, the town of Terlingua has a population of like 153. The closest gas station between where we were in Alpine, uh, gas was over $4, and there were 6 pumps, and one of them wasn't working.
Yikes.
And still, people parked at them. That is, oh, I hate that. I hate that so much. You're in the middle of this area. I hate it anyway. This is the only gas station. Alpine's 90 miles away. There's a gas station in Big Bend Park, which we could have gone and used that if we had to, but man, just don't park your car. And I understand if you go, if you park your car and go pay cash for the gas, do it. That's great. Don't do that and go to the bathroom and do some shopping and look around. No, move your car out of the damn way. It's insane. I get it. I mean, people not everyone has credit cards, and people need cash, and no problem. Move it. Move it when you're done.
I can't stand driving up to a gas station and seeing a car to pump and then not be somebody in the car
Not a soul.
and not pumping gas.
Yes. Oh for
Or
2.
or not even like have the thing in the car I don't even check that closely to see if the pump is running, but like
Yeah.
they don't even hook the pump. I can't
Then they
stand
walk
it.
out with they've got like 3 burritos and
Big bag of chips and
yeah,
drinks and
some fountain drinks, because those take even longer than just grabbing a 20 ounce from the cooler.
what's cheaper, Michael?
That's true. But, one could wager, though. One could make the exception that you actually get less per ounce because of the ice.
Depends on how much ice you put in your own cup. But yeah.
Well, that's who's
All right.
to say. Okay. So, yeah.
I don't want to. I don't get on that. I can't stand that, Michael.
Big
All
Ben, Big Ben was awesome. Everybody should try to go, but try not to go during the summer.
Okay, so there are a couple of spots that are closed. They're only open November to April, so that's good to know.
Yep.
The park obviously is open year round, but because I was looking at going, and we were like, if we're gonna go, we're probably take all the kids. It's like I'm probably not gonna do the Lost Mine Trail. That's probably too long, too hard for kids.
Especially if it was that hot. No. Yeah.
The Santa Elena one I think was going to be on the list for us. And then there was one around like Hot Springs that was not like a hike, but like a stopover place. And there's like a scenic route type thing. And then there's
we took the scenic route down to Santa Elena. Well, there's more than one scenic route, but
yeah. Then there was like a picture spot, like what they call the window.
Yes, we didn't make it to that one, but yeah, the window. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So there's that, but going in June now, I have doubts. I have questions.
I would be very cautious, especially if you're taking your kids with you.
All right, here's the thing. We talked about going to Mississippi, possibly over spring break to see my grandmother. If we don't do that, maybe we do this over spring break.
Okay.
I don't know. I was really excited about it a week ago, but now shoot. Okay. Okay, there's something else I want to ask you about because I heard this. Um, I can't even remember how I got onto it, but it made me wonder. Okay, do you collect anything? Like, are you a collector of anything specific?
Not, you put that in there, and I was trying to think. I'm sure probably my wife and other people would would come up with something, but I don't think so. I mean, I have a lot of certain things, but a lot of them were things that were just kind of passed down to me. Like my dad collected a lot of things. And so I have a lot of his stuff because I can't bear to part with it. I'll part with some of it here and there, but like he collected coins and pocket knives and guns and so other things like that. So I have a lot of that, but not I haven't contributed much to that.
Yeah. So I'm remembering now. Like, it was this guy was talking about like he used to collect like movies, Blu-rays, DVDs.
Oh, that
Um,
might have I did that. I did that for a
uh,
while in college, especially. Yeah.
you mentioned pocket knives, watches, cologne, that type of thing. So I, I was curious because that's not something I do. I don't collect things. I'm not like I don't hang on to a lot of things like that. I have like it sounds interesting to try to get into that, but I was like, but that takes so much of mental capacity. I just don't have room for it, nor do I have space to keep something or collect. I can't.
Probably ball caps would be the closest thing, and that's just because I'm kind of maybe just a hoarder. I really have trouble getting rid of ball caps. I just wear them until I lose them or they fall apart or so, when I want a new one, I just add it to the 30 I already have. That's probably one of mine.
Baseball caps is probably the next thing, like the closest thing I would have to,
Yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with Grayson's baseball teams.
Hmm.
So he's been on 5 different teams, but 4 different teams, if that makes sense. He's been a Tiger twice. But I've always gotten a cap every season that he's played. I just didn't have to. I didn't have to buy a second Tigers cap. He's been a Cub, Tiger, Dodger, Brave, Tiger. Um, I'll be interested to see what team he's on this year. Hayden is also playing this year, so I may get 2 hats this year.
Woo. See, there you go. That might be
Um,
yours.
and I've got a small handful of Rangers caps. I've got 2 of the blue ones like this, but I can't let everybody forget that they are World Series champions. I
I
have the blue cap without that patch. I have a black one with just the white uh, T on it.
I used to collect shot glasses, and then I realized that's kind of a silly sophomoric thing to collect, so I quit
Mm,
doing it. And I got rid of a lot of them in a garage sale
yeah,
many years
my
ago.
my grandfather. So he used to work for one of the telephone companies. I think it was just called Bell at that time. He collected the glass insulators.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so
Um,
my dad had a bunch of those too. And because that's kind of the industry I'm in, I quote unquote donated them, a lot of them to my office and some people in our office. And I've still got a few in mine. And his dad collected stuff too. My dad came by it honestly. His dad collected pins.
mm.
So I think my dad got rid of a bunch of 'em, but man, I inherited a bunch of old pens that probably hadn't worked since I'd been alive because that ink had dried up like in the 70s. And
So
they
they
just
weren't
didn't
they
work.
weren't like fountain pens or something like real
No,
special or specific use or
they were
something. They're just
ballpoint. I think my granddad loved promotional pins, so they were like from banks, from car dealerships. They were
so
he especially loved it because sometimes they would send them in the mail with like his name on it or uh you know his last name and then our farm, something like that on there. So he loved anything with his name on it, and so he kept a bunch of that stuff, and it was promotional or trying to get him to buy pins from these people, I'm sure, and he probably did.
nice. Yeah, I was just curious about that. What about like do you buy like if there's something that gets updated or released regularly? I know we talked about like farming simulator type of thing, but like if there's a new thing that comes out and it gets updated, are you like a in line to buy that type of thing? Like
Like the
people,
latest cell phones or something.
yeah, there's that, or just like what's something that gets updated like regularly besides cell phones? Games would be one. Like what I just said that though.
I have not like I wasn't that way. Okay, I was that way with a couple things. I was that way with all the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. Anytime there was a new DLC, anytime there was a new version of the game, I was in. I was trying to get it as quick as I could. Then I didn't have anything that scratched that itch until Farming Simulator came out like 15 years later. And uh but I haven't bought the latest one. So the latest one's been out since November. And I think I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to wait until, they release that first special edition that has all the season 1 pass stuff. And so probably next Christmas or something. That's probably what I'm going to wait for. But I'd say that's the closest thing I do. My cell phone's 5 years old, and I have trouble hooking it up to the charger. So I think I need. That's what I do. I run them to the ground, and that's where I'm at on this one. I went from an Galaxy S2 to an S5 to an S10. So it's a few generations skipped
Yeah,
here and there, and
I
now they're on like S25, and I know it's because they switched to years, but whatever.
yeah I used to be that way with the NCAA football games. Like every summer, I'd go get the new one. Um, I There are obviously a few things that are out now that like I could do that with, um, but they were also forcing me to buy like the
Oh yeah, the new system.
new system. I was like, I'm not, I can't justify 400 or $450 on a new system.
Yeah, I'm not clamoring out
Um,
to get the latest much of much of anything. Uh, albums though, uh, there's a
I
handful
think
of bands that I really like that I will download. I will buy their album the day it comes out, but I just download it, so that's not like a big a big time commitment or anything.
I also think subscription services have kind of replaced that because like I have Apple Music,
Yeah,
right? So like when a new album comes out, I can go get it without having to pay anything for it. Whereas
yeah,
like I'd have to go to Sam Goody or Best Buy or whatever to go buy the CD or whatever. Um,
yeah. I used to do that with that's a great point you mentioned that earlier with DVDs and even kind of with Blu-rays, but I'd kind of phased myself out of it at that point. I would do that. I would kept up with Dark Knight Rises comes out on Blu-ray such and such day or DVD. I've got to go get it. So that I had like a handful of movies that I would go in the theater and I'd kind of make a little list of okay, well when these come out, that was awesome. I loved it. I want to buy it that way I can watch it whenever I want. And then like you said, streaming services replace that part, of media consumption too. So I still have several DVDs, but I'm definitely not going out and buying them.
I recently had this thought talking about like these media companies don't want you to own anything. So like they'll
Yeah.
sell you this subscription service, like you have access to like whatever, but then like they'll change the licensing on things like you don't have access to The Office or whatever. Like it'll change which streaming service it's on or whether it's even out there at all. Instead of just owning a physical copy of it. And I know like places like Best Buy don't even sell DVDs anymore.
That's what frustrates me with
And video games is going the same way. Like
video games.
it's
Exactly.
it's going like to subscription, like Farming Simulator. Like you go online, you buy the thing, and whatever you have access to it. But then so many other games, um, like a Fortnite, for example, the game is free, but you
Yeah,
have to
but
subscribe to the online service to be able to play it.
yeah.
Um,
And then you're probably going to get left behind if you don't buy some things here and there to upgrade your character or whatever.
yeah, so like you have to buy like because we play Fortnite in my family, so we have to we purchase into the online platform, Xbox, whatever it's called now. And then in the game Fortnite, you don't have to. You can play without purchasing the battle pass, but the battle pass gives you the ability to earn different skins and gun wraps and emotes and all the kind of things that you could customize yourself in the game with. Um, so you could absolutely play it for free outside of the streaming service. I don't love it. And then like just to step back on the streaming services by itself, like you're spending now much more than you were paying for cable, and they're kind of defeated the purpose.
Yeah, and
And
you
now
know,
you don't get to own anything.
no, right. So it was nice to when, like back when you bought Madden '06, when Madden '07 came out, there was probably some kid or someone you knew who you could get to pay you $10 for Madden '06. You know, so you could just, all right, here, have that. But now you've got 7 copies of Madden, and you can't do anything with them. They're just all yours. Like right now, if I could sell Farming Simulator 19, I would, but I can't because I own it digitally. There's no way for me to sell it, and that is a frustrating thing. You know, with our Switch, we've been really trying to get the cartridges because, especially as you know, our daughter kind of ages out of different things or loses interest in something, you know, we could at least try to recoup some of that money a little bit and put it towards a game that she might like more, or vice versa. You know, some of the games are only ones we play. So really on those we've downloaded probably more than we meant to, but we have quite a few. We have 7 or 8 that are on cartridge solely that way we have a little bit of flexibility. But yeah, that's kind of a tough one.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of where I want to wrap up. That's my when we learn. I was all for the cord cutting and streaming service. You get to a la carte, you figure out what you want,
Yeah.
but now it's been like repackaged and rebundled, and now nickeled and dimed like at every spot. You have to pay for everything. It's like, well, now it's more expensive. I have to have 8 different active subscriptions to watch what I want to watch. I have to figure out what channel or service it's on and where that app is. Is it on my phone? Is it on the TV? Is it on
Yeah,
whatever?
between my Hulu Live bundle, which has Disney, ESPN Plus, and Hulu Live, and my internet, I'm right back at 150 a month, and that was what I was paying with Suddenlink when I quit. And that's before you add in, you know, I'll have Peacock for a while, or I'll have Paramount for a while, or I'll have Netflix.
HBO, yeah.
Yeah, so that's before even that. So yeah, we're right back where we're back where we started.
Yeah, we
Time
have
is
that
a flat circle.
we have that same Hulu Live Disney ESPN bundle, and it's what 85 $90 a month now,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
internet to stream it. We are on the low end of what's doable. I think we pay 55 for what we get from AT&T. So we're like 130, 140 ish.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear something outrageous? And I don't want to like shame my mom here, but I'm just gonna throw this out. If your parents have media subscriptions, you should probably like check in with them and see what they're spending. My mom was complaining the past few days that she's been without internet, and she's like, "Well, they're supposed to be coming out, and they never do." And I was like, just like kind of offhand, like, "Hey, like, do you have any other options besides AT&T?" She's like, "I don't know. Her late husband, my stepdad, handled all that kind of stuff, and he I was like, Mom, he died 6 years ago." And she's like, "Yeah, I've been on the same thing for 6." I was like, "Okay, well, whatever." And then she let it slip that she's paying $9.50 a month for Uverse. So it's her cable, her internet, and her cell phone. 950. I was like, Mom, you are getting absolutely robbed.
Oh my gosh.
And like, you've seen what her internet is like when I'm there, and I
Yes.
try to do like, she has
You're
three.
broadcasting from a razor.
Her download speed is 3 megabits per second.
Oof.
She has Uverse. She has like imaginable channel. That's where she's probably getting gouged. And I don't know what her cell phone piece of that looks like. I'm sure she's paying for 2 lines still. It's like you only need to pay for 1 line. Even
Oh
if
my
you want to keep
gosh.
his phone with all the pictures and all the access to stuff, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be on the network.
But like $9.50 a month.
Oh
So
my gosh.
check
Well,
in
we're
with your
we're
parents,
in
everybody.
yeah,
Make sure
everyone
they're not getting ripped off by
be sure and
AT&T.
do that. So that's not going to happen to my mom because she overshares. I know so much about her financial situation, but also she refuses to get a credit card.
Okay. It's
So
not the worst idea, but
it's not the worst, but then that means that she does have internet finally. She got internet for the first time last fall, and she had never had fast high speed internet until she was 68 years old. And so she's got it now, and she has Netflix, but the way she has Netflix, and because this is the only way she can do it with refusing to have a credit card, is she has to buy gift cards every so often.
oh my gosh.
And so that kind of makes you kind of realize how much you're spending on it. So all of a sudden you're buying $90 worth of gift cards so that you can have Netflix for 8 months or whatever it is, because I think she's dropped down to the ad supported one. But anyway, so that means
That's
I'm
the
in
other thing.
charge. I'm in charge of entering the cards. I was in charge of setting it up. I was in charge of creating her password. Uh, what's been nice about it though is for Christmas I gave her a gift card for Paramount Plus because kind of to go back to the conversation we just had, I knew that she would love watching 1883. She really likes Sam Elliott. It's a solid show. I really enjoyed it. It got a little soap opera-y, but Taylor Sheridan, he can't help himself. So it was great, and I just knew she would love it. And I thought about buying her the DVD box set, but I thought, well, crap, I can just get her a gift card for Paramount Plus, and she can watch that, and she can watch whatever else she wants on there for quite a few months, and then that's that. So that's what I did instead. Anyway, she's got 2 streaming services right now, but they're both on gift cards. So we'll never go over the. She won't be getting gouged anytime soon. But man, it is kind of inconvenient
So yeah, so
to
now
to,
me
to
and
live in 2025 and refuse to have a credit card and have a debit card that you also refuse to use though.
yeah. So me and my brother are gonna try to figure out how to help her with this. He's much closer than I am, but not like down the street. So I
Sure.
don't even know like what even is available in her area. I probably could
Probably like
get on there
a few things.
and just put her address in. But I know some of it's just like geolocate. Like if they look by my IP address, like, well, you have AT&T, but what Suddenlink? It's like, no, she doesn't have Suddenlink. um, and I'm sure she would throw a fit like if she had to lose her TiVo or her DVRs. Like, mom, when you turn the TV on, you're watching Hallmark. You're not watching the recordings. And like, if there's a show you want to follow, we can figure out what streaming service is on, and you can watch it on demand there.
Yep. Yep.
But like, we need to fix your internet speed,
Yeah.
drop your cable, get you the right phone plan,
Make sure you're just paying for one phone.
and probably save you $700 a month.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Spitzer, that's nuts.
So yeah. The other thing I was gonna say is like the streaming services that you pay for. It used to be like you'd pay for it to get the ad-free versions. Now you're paying just to get access to their service to then
Yep.
get more ads. Like, well, cool. This used to be like I paid for the service to be ad-free. Now it's ad supported. It's like you're not delivering on what you sold me on.
Oh
Much
no,
like
no, no. We still
Amazon.
do ad free. It's just $12 a month higher.
Yeah, but that's not. But like what they sold you on is like, oh, it's Hulu is $8 a month and it's ad free. Oh, great, let's do it. And now it's like, oh, we're gonna roll in ads, and if you want the ad free version, you got to go to $12 or Amazon Prime or
Yeah, well, Amazon, that really ticked me off because I think we talked about that, but we canceled Amazon Prime a year ago, um, apparently right before they did that. And then I had a free trial come up. I forgot what I was wanted to watch or something specific. Oh, Clarkson's Farm. I wanted to watch that and the latest Grand Tour. So I had a free trial come up in like September and I used it and there were commercials, man. There used to not be commercials. Oh man, that one really ticked me off because you're just now if we went back, we would have to pay the extra fee to get back to where we were, where there weren't commercials on stinking Amazon. That's what
we
Freebie's for.
yeah. And then just Amazon Prime, that membership, being able to get away with not giving you the best price because the free 2-day shipping. No, they change the price on you because if you don't have Amazon Prime, prices are a little bit lower, but then they add shipping in later.
Well, the other thing they do is you order stuff on December 6th and you get emails constantly saying, "Oh, well, sorry, sorry, sorry."
Delayed,
And yeah, I've got something that's supposed to be here the 17th of January that I was hopeful to give my wife for her birthday, which was this last
week.
weekend. I mean, I ordered it December 6th. Like, okay, this should get here.
Sounds like you end up
after
buying from a drop shipper
Christmas.
that's coming out of China.
Oh, I have no idea. Well, it's from it's the seller is the same name of the thing I got. So it it looks legit as could be, but yeah, I they check it today or I checked it today and they said your item's still going to it's still shipped and there's no record of it. I don't know if I think they finally tried anyway. Yeah, they've just really ticked me off lately.
All right, what else you learned? Let's wrap this up.
Okay. All right, this one will be quick. So we went to a Christmas party a while back. Are you familiar with the Best Christmas Pageant Ever?
No.
That book and or movie? Okay. So gist of it is there's some kids kind of rough situation. They end up uh, going to this church and they throw themselves into this Christmas pageant, and it's kind of wild. Uh, but anyway, my wife and I dressed up as them, which is kind of weird. We dressed up as a brother and sister, and I didn't really even make that connection till my wife mentioned it while we were driving there. I was like, oh, yeah, that is kind of odd. So anyway, we dressed up as the Herdmans for this party, which involved me wearing a robe and slippers because that's what they thought a wise man would wear. And so my wife went and bought like the cheapest flannel robe you can get at Walmart. This guy, like this type of stuff,
still right there.
And so she bought it just for this party, and then slowly but surely, I've just started wearing it around the house. And because it's a little drafty in the house, and I don't really like to wear like long sleeve stuff. It's fantastic. I think I'm a robe guy now, Spencer. That's what I think I've learned is I may need to add robe to my Christmas list every year. Maybe that's what I'll collect are cheap Walmart robes. Very comfortable, very cozy.
I have a singular robe. I can't make myself wear it. It's uncomfortable. It's cringy. I can't.
You need one of these bad boys, man.
It's not flannel. It's just
no. This is fleece. This is kind of like a fleece, but it does look like flannel.
Yeah,
it's classy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm a robe guy. That's what I learned.
Well, that'll do it for us for the personal podcast. Texas Tech takes down Kansas State 71-60. What was the score? Hold on. Come on.
Stop the music.
Well, whatever it was, Texas Tech wins on the road tonight. We'll be back next week to get you a recap of Arizona. Cincinnati. Michael, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.
That was close.